Hi guys, welcome back to Progress Everything. Today's video we're talking about investing in startups, why I do it, why one could consider investing in startups, and how well can you do from it. So why should somebody consider investing in startups? Why did I consider it? Well, there's a lot of things, a lot of reasons why people might want to consider investing in startups. I guess number one is to mitigate against inflation. Inflation is going up at the moment at the time of filming. Stock markets are kind of they can be up and down. Investing in startups, you could argue, for a certain type of person, it might be a bit more stable. You can't buy and sell them like every day. So you could just set some money aside for a company that you strongly believe in, maybe you want to back for different reasons. And then that money is kind of helping those founders to grow their company. So that's kind of interesting. And it provides a different kind of exposure than investing in very large companies or in funds. Now, those funds and companies, if you think about it, probably broadly track the economy, whereas you invest in a startup and they grow from one part of London to another part of London, or one part of New York to another part of New York, their sales might have trebled, their revenue might have and their profits might have doubled or something. And it's really on a micro level. It's not, maybe inflation won't impact very small companies as much of others, especially if they've got really innovative products or services. So that's something to consider. So you've got a couple of things there. You've got liquidity, and maybe some people don't want to have a lot of liquidity. Maybe if you're the kind of person that buys and sells frequently and locks in losses, or has done other types of trading, and you like the idea of kind of setting some money aside and letting Okay, sorry, having some technical problems. Should be okay now. I was just saying that if you're the kind of person that buys and sells and feels anxious about stock prices going up and down, or crypto prices going up or down, etc., then investing in startups is one way to mitigate against that kind of price anxiety. I wouldn't suggest that anybody, and I can't give advice, I'm not a financial advisor, but what I would never do myself is put all of my investable cash in startups because it's risky. But I am finding that it's really interesting investing in startups. They can grow quite quickly, and it's quite exciting to be part of a startup at a young stage. Compared to investing in Tesla is interesting, and investing in Google, but these are very large businesses, and maybe there isn't that personal connection. You can't just email Elon Musk. You can't just email the heads of these companies. Whereas when you invest in startups, you can. How well can you do from investing in startups? Well, there are people that have invested relatively small amounts in startups that are now they've bought houses with those amounts. I'm not talking millions of pounds here. Like, they might have put in £3,000 or £4,000 and they've walked away with 400,000 or 500,000 in a kind of 4 or 5 year period. There are lots of examples like this. Brewdog is one of the most successful equity crowdfunding campaigns. They did several raises, and if you invested early on, you did very well. And I did know about this company. I didn't know much about investing in startups. I didn't know much about angel investing or digital angel investing, but I kind of thought it was not going to work. I didn't think the people that were investing really knew much about investing, and I didn't think that the platforms themselves were maybe legit enough. And actually, I've been proven incredibly wrong. The platforms have thrived themselves. There's more and more money being pumped into startups and the environment. You've even got people like private equity and venture capital now looking to get involved and co-invest into startups. You've now got, in the UK at least, Rishi Sunak is the current Chancellor of the Exchequer, sitting alongside the Prime Minister, and he thinks that pension funds should be able to back startups. And you've got that thriving market in the UK called EIS or SEIS, that's the Enterprise Investment Scheme, or the Small Enterprise Investment Scheme, where it's so tax advantageous to people that live in the UK to invest in startups. It's kind of unbelievable how much tax benefits you can get from investing in startups. So there's a lot of different factors that have come in. Plus, just the volume of money that's going into startups is just unbelievable. And the speed of which it goes in it can be incredible as well. I mean, one of the companies that I invest in is called Moneybox. I was a user of Moneybox, a customer of Moneybox since maybe, I don't know, I can't remember what year I started, 2017, 2018, I don't remember the year. But then I heard they were doing a crowdfunding raise, and I invested. And, it's really interesting. They raised, I think, 7 million in a few days, 7 million sterling. So it's about $10 million from individual investors. That's really interesting. The crowd has money and the crowd is investing in startups. Should you invest in startups? I can't make that decision for you, but I am going to be making videos about startups. I think it's very interesting. I've got a couple of years of experience now. I started investing in startups in 2019, 2020. I've invested in about 70 startups, small amounts of money. But for me, it's a high percentage of my liquid net worth. It's probably, I don't know, 20%, maybe 30% of my liquid net worth. Well, it's not liquid anymore, but, of the money that I had available, I've invested in very interesting startups. Interesting from a few different ways. Number one, they're interesting because some of them are doing innovative things, really innovative, exciting things. Number two, maybe they have an element of the ecological or ethical aspects. So they're doing interesting innovation, but it's also going to help the planet, or it's also going to help the environment. And I think that's interesting as well, making money when doing, from ethical investments. And I realized a few years ago you can do this, because I knew somebody who invested in Vestax, which is the wind farms, and they did very well. And I kind of wasn't that bought into the idea that, that green investments could do well. And I've really been proven wrong. And at the startup level as well, they can do very, very well. So that's interesting. Anyway, I'm going to stop this video now as the episode 1. I think I've covered why I invest in startups, why people might consider investing in startups. There's the additional, the growth potential. You can easily, when you invest in startups, it's a lot easier to 10x your money than it is investing in listed companies. A listed company might 10x, but it might take 10 years. Whereas in the startup world, it might take 3 years or 4 years. So there's the speed of return. There's the excitement that you can speak to the founders. There's a community of investors. So that's interesting, exciting. The communications is often more dynamic. You get better communications. There's loads of different reasons. And then there's the other things that if you're the kind of person like we talked about, there's trading in and out, it's a bit more stable. Yes, it's illiquid. You can't get the cash until there's a liquidity event in many cases on many platforms. But if you want to park the money, you want to give it to these founders and let them grow their companies and be part of that journey, I think investing in startups is interesting. What I do personally is I'm going to invest in platforms which I believe have a good, solid history, and companies and individuals which I can do my research on. I think it's really important not to just throw your money around. I'm not an advisor here. I can't give advice, but I would never just invest on any old platform and just invest in any old company. I do have a diligent criteria. I do have a diligent process which I go by, and I'm going to be talking about that more in upcoming videos. So if you like this kind of content, make sure to smash that like button on YouTube. Subscribe. I have other channels about startups that are going to be upcoming. I apologize for the quality of this video. I've just moved house and I'm going to be doing probably live stream content for now, but it may go into the more higher quality videos in the coming kind of weeks and months once I get my setup fixed. But at the moment, it's going to be live streams. I hope that's okay. Definitely consider checking out my other content on the channel. I've got a bank of videos about freelancing. I've got a bank of videos about inflation beating assets and how you can generate more money to invest. Kind of more or less anybody can do that. So I recommend checking out those videos. If you're interested in earning more, there are ways to do that. If you're looking at freelancing, I've got a bank of videos on that. Anyway, point is, I've got tons of videos. Check them out and let me know what you think of these videos. Feel free to comment if you've got any questions, queries, etc. If you've got anything you'd like me to make videos on, again, let me know. Guys, I'm going to leave it there and I'll make another few of these videos about startups very soon. Take care.